Hey, it's a Helmet Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a look at the 4-panel death card of Hermann Grundl. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So panel 1 here, we have a photo of a field grave with Hermann Grundl died on April 7th, 1945. And then moving to the interior, we have a nice, almost half-panel photo of Hermann there. As we can see, he's wearing a Luftwaffe uniform. And moving to the bottom, he who lives on in the memory of his loved ones is not dead. He is only far away. Only he who is forgotten is dead. And then moving to the third panel here, you notice this card's actually in good enough shape that you can't actually lay it flat after it's been folded, which is a bit unusual. In prayerful remembrance of my dear, unforgettable husband, my good son and son-in-law, our dear brother, brother-in-law, and uncle, Hermann Grundl, a merchant from Schwabach, a funker or radio operator in an infantry regiment, who died a heroic death on April 7th, 1945 in Konigsberg in East Prussia, after 5.5 years of service at the age of 38. Now, as is usually the case when I research late war casualties, unfortunately we don't have a casualty record for Hermann. I did find a hit for him on Volksbund. He was born on February 20th, 1907 in Rottelmünster, and was a stabsgefreiter, as his rank at the time of his death. And interestingly, if we go to his photo here, like I said, he's wearing a Luftwaffe uniform. That seems to be the uniform of a Obergefreiter. I might be wrong on that, so please correct me if I am. Now, Konigsberg, as was noted over here, was a German city in East Prussia, and it would actually fall after months of being under siege on April 9th, 1945, so just 2 days after Hermann dies in the city, so that seems to line up there. Now, April 7th was a pretty bloody day in Konigsberg. This would see several German counterattacks trying to push back the Soviets, using essentially all of their remaining reserves, most likely including Hermann. And of course, this does not work. Several of the last German hardpoints fall as a result, and General Otto Lasch, who is in command of the defense of the city, radios to the Fuhrer asking for permission to surrender, which, similarly to what happened at Stalingrad and so many other cities throughout the Second World War, Hitler refuses the request for surrender and tells General Lasch that he should be fighting to the last man. Obviously, as is always the case, these situations, the city does surrender. But of course, at that point, it's too late for Hermann and many of the other defenders. And in this case, we see from his card here that Hermann was a veteran of 5.5 years in the service, most of that likely in the Luftwaffe. And given the fact he died in April 45, that puts us right back to the beginning of the war. And, Hermann's lived through the entire thing up to this point. Now, this is probably a situation that we see a lot, especially with the Luftwaffe Feld divisions that we've talked about, where Luftwaffe ground crew in a lot of cases, because there aren't as many aircraft, are being retrained as infantry and sent into combat. Something similar probably happened to Hermann here. He was no longer needed for whatever service he was originally performing in the Luftwaffe, and was trained and brought into one of these infantry units that was assisting in the defense of Konigsberg, and that is where he's going to be killed. Now, moving to the back of the card here to panel 4. We both wanted to be happy, but fate intervened cruelly and took away what I loved most on earth. How can it even be possible? Now you lie buried in the distant land. No pleading or crying will give you back to me. Lost is the highest thing I had. Love, hope, happiness is over. With God I will stand firm in this pain until we meet again in God. O Lord, grant him eternal rest. So a bit of a really interesting death card there. Late war cards, unfortunately, are always hard to research, but at least in this case, because we have the name of the city of Konigsberg there, and of course, that's a relatively famous siege at the end of the war, we're able to glean a little bit of information. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.